And its home opener, Duke got a massive win over Western Carolina, ended up leaving with a 95 to 54 point victory. 41 point margin of margin of victory. Sorry, that's a little redundant. I apologize. Didn't think about that one. But yeah, big win for Duke. You got Cam Boozer and a very nice bounce back game. I believe he started 1 for 6 from three, finished 4 for 9, made three in a row. Overall stat line very impressive, 25, 8, and 5, with yet another highlight reel block where he just snatched the soul out of the challenger who dared meet him in the paint. Duke looked good. Spoiler alert. That's what we're gonna say. I mean, it's a bye game. Western Carolina, not a terrible team. They were in the top 200 on KenPom. SoCon, good league. Really struggled last year, but some new pieces. Tim Kraft has a good pedigree to where I would say Duke fans be encouraged by this. This is not just beating up on some sub 300 NEC or Ohio Valley or sub 300 ASUN team. Like, this is from a really good league. And even if they had their struggles last year, again, I buy what Tim Kraft is building there. And to just leave no doubt where this game was over in 10 minutes, that's exactly what you want to see out of your team in one of these types of contests. Dion, I will turn it over to you. What were some of your big takeaways for the Blue Devils out of this one?
Cam Boozer. That was the takeaway. We got the Cam Boozer performance. We got the one we were looking for. It only took 2 games, so that's more than the other freshmen, though. I do want to point that out. That's more than the other freshmen. But no, we got 25.8 boards, 5 assists from Cam Boozer. He was all over the place. I think you got a really, really good Caleb Foster performance too, like legitimately. You know what I mean? Like this, if you can get this from Caleb Foster every game, I think you're good. 9 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. I don't know how much more you can ask out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Evans didn't play great. This team won by 40. This is what I mean with Duke, right? They won by 40. They covered, obviously. They don't need everybody to show up. And I still don't think we've gotten the best version of Duke because Dame Sarr was pretty bad in this game too. Nick
Mm-hmm.
Kamenian still hasn't showed up, but you got a lot out of Caden Boozer too. The point guard spot getting you 23 points, 11 boards, and 9 assists. If they do half of that, this is the best team in the country. If they do anything in between this and half of that, they're still the best team in the country, by the way. So, I mean, I think this team is so talented, and so far through 2 games, you've gotten more out of the point guard spot than you expected. You got a good Big Pat game finally. You got a really good Cam Boozer game. I think you're chilling. I think if you're a Duke fan, you're very, very happy at the moment. This team is legit. This team's a problem. I think Virginia Tech's here to stay in the ACC. I think Louisville's here to stay in the ACC. But I think Duke is the class. Also, North Carolina. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. North Carolina looked great against Kansas. Man, do I think Duke waxes the floor with Kansas right now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that, I,
yeah.
I think it's not like a Duke. Like I think Duke is the class of the ACC, not to slight the other teams for the
Mhm.
first time in a while. Like for the first time in a while, there's other teams that can compete. This team's just that much better.
Well, I think part of what you're getting at, Dion, I would even draw this comparison to the UNC Kansas game when you're saying why Duke would wax the floor with Kansas. So it's crunch time against UNC. They built a double digit lead. And I said this from my vantage point watching this, where I'm like, why is Jamari McDowell and Samis Calderon in the game for Kansas when they're down double figures trying to mount a comeback? Who are these dudes? Why are they getting burned? And say what you will about whatever amount of time it takes for this Duke roster to gel, you look up and down the roster and you're hard pressed to find a guy in the top nine, top 10 of the rotation who you're not comfortable being out there. I thought Darren Harris, I know the boxer doesn't always tell the full story. He finished with 5 points in this one, knocked down. He didn't even take a three. He did most of his damage at the charity stripe. I thought he had some really nice defensive possessions, like in ISO defense, where he walled off his man from the paint. And I know that's kind of been Harris's question mark. That's probably why he didn't get on the court much last year. And granted, he was a freshman and not one of a high 4 star fringe, I think top 30-ish recruit, not like a bona fide star, and maybe some of those defensive concerns that kept him from getting on a court that played historically good defense. And so to see him sort of rise to the occasion with that and to show signs, it's like, yeah, I can buy in and fit my role in that sense. Even against Western, I still love to see it. Excuse me, I would say I would love to see it if I was a Duke fan, but it's good for his progression. With Kamenia, I feel like the breakout's coming. I like the way that Shire uses him. He's bringing the ball up the court a ton. ton. And I think that's one thing where, I've said this when I watched Nick Kamenia in high school. I wanted Carolina to get him, and they recruited him pretty hard initially because he reminded me of Harrison Ingram, and that was sort of the sell on Ingram. And what he did a lot during his time at Stanford was running the offense. And I think with Kamenia, if they can utilize his playmaking and sort of have him as just another jumbo initiator, that only further eases the burden off of these point guards. So I think throughout the season, you're probably going to see Caden Boozer ebb and flow. You're probably going to see Caleb Foster ebb and flow. Like you don't necessarily know what you're going to get on a night to night basis. There will be some nights they probably chip in enough to either win you the game themselves or at least contribute heavily to it. There's probably going to be nights where you see the first half like Caleb Foster had against Texas, where he was non-existent. So just the more that you can get out of some of these other creators, I think will only bolster this offense.
Yeah, I agree. They have so many different weapons, and I'm not taking anything away from North Carolina's performance against Kansas, but Duke
Mhm.
has five dudes you can throw at Darren Peterson. North Carolina still probably has like two or three in their own right. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's how talented they are. That's how good the ACC is. Like there's a lot of different guys you could throw at Darren Peterson, but Duke just has so many. And by the way, like one of them in Dame Sarr probably doesn't even do a thing on the offensive floor. That's the biggest difference. Like everybody on North Carolina has to contribute a little bit on both ends.
Yeah, right.
Uh, and I
Don,
don't think we've seen the passion from Duke that North Carolina showed in that game either.
mhm.
That's another level this team can get to. And to be fair, I would have had a bigger issue if they showed the same passion North Carolina had against Kansas, against Western Carolina. They did great. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. But like you haven't seen Cam Boozer have that moment Caleb Wilson had where they got it, I believe, a 10-second
Yeah.
violation, and he turns to the crowd and like screams. Like it meant something to him. There
Mhm.
hasn't been a game Duke's had yet that's overtly meant something to them besides a win on the schedule. That's
Yeah.
coming. There's just levels this Duke team can get to that we haven't seen yet. It's very, very impressive. I mean, I'm filling out my sleepers top 25 right now. Sneak peek. I personally got them at three, and that's just because like I'm not ready to remove Purdue and Houston yet. But realistically, of the three teams, I think Duke's been the most impressive through a week.
They had 42 bench points too. I know we Malik Brown finished with 10. Like if you're getting that out of Malik Brown, then yeah, they're probably going to be the third best team in the
Right.
country at least. But yeah, I think just even looking at in comparison, Western had 8 bench points. Like that tells you the story of this team. Again, even in a bye game, I in these types of contests, I'm just looking for like who rises to the occasion and shows that they belong. Who even okay? I keep hammering this point home about Kamenia. Like with some of his shooting, to even call him shooting struggles would be a bit of an overstatement. I don't like what did he have? 3 points against Texas, 8 points against Western, shot 2 for 6 from three against Western. Like I think I still can't shake that thought of how good he was against UCF in the exhibition to say like he's quote unquote struggled, but he hasn't necessarily been asked to like light it up and swing a game on the offensive side of the ball. But that's why I go back to like even him bringing the ball up the court and being willing to initiate and not being shaken from that. It's like you gotta have that confidence to cut it at Duke. I mean, that's not really breaking any news, but you want to see that out of guys you have coming off of the bench. You want to see that after from guys who maybe I sort of thought Jimenez was going to be starting over Sarr. It seems like Sarr did something in practice in the final weeks, probably on the defensive end, that earned him that spot. But again, it seems like Jimenez's confidence hasn't wavered, and I don't know. He's going to be a really, really, really good six man that I'm jealous I don't have. But yeah, just all in all, really a ton of balance on the wing, and roster's full of talent, man. Like John Shire can build an incredible roster, so good at eval, so good at understanding which pieces fit together, and just doing exactly what you're supposed to and then some in a game like this. I think further underlines that.
I don't even think it's just Nick Kamini as a six man that's going to be an issue. I hate to be that guy for the ACC. Sophomore year Nick Kamini is going to be special.
He's going to the league. I will start. I'm going to start pumping that agenda now that Nick Hamani is the first round pick.
I do believe he's a first round pick. Don't get me wrong. This is the one draft class where he might not be.
as
Like that's
as
how talented this group is.
I might have to go. I'm just gonna start making Nick Kamini a clip so that I can just drop edits like this kid's gotta go lotto. I tried that with Tyrese Proctor his freshman year. He was awesome down the stretch his freshman year at Duke. And I like would tweet about Tyrese Proctor going in the lotto every day, and it did not work, and he came back.
I
However,
mean this with
Dig,
all due respect, and I mean all due respect to Nick Menia. Not a world he goes lotto. And that's not his fault. I think he's a lotto pick in any other draft class. I could probably rattle off 14 dudes off the top of my head that could pick for him.
yeah, who would go over Kamini right now?
And
Yeah, that's
it's not
fair.
even disrespectful. Like that
Right,
that
right.
that dude talent wise is a top 10 pick in any class. I think if he was a year older, um, we honestly might be talking about him as like a top 5 pick.
Yeah, yeah, you're
Two
probably
two years
right.
older. You can't tell me Reed Shepard's for sure top 5 pick and Nick
Mm,
Kamenia isn't, right?
yeah,
Like
right.
no way. So
That's a good point. Dion, I got one question for you. When we had talked after the Texas game and did our recap of that, it seemed like you weren't really phased by any of their first half struggles. I think, you got some jokes off at Caleb Foster's expense and said we got to stop cheering him on when he knocks down a wide open three. In terms of even ranking them as high as three, would you say just seeing Cam Boozer show up to the party was enough to swing you? Was it just letting that game breathe a little bit, or was it just further evaluating their roster, or what that kind of has you back thinking that this Duke team is the goods?
it's like I said on the recap, and I do think me and Duke fans are in a weird spot right now where they think I don't like Duke, and that's not the case at all. Like I love this team this year. I think that Texas game was their worst performance.
Hmm.
I really do. Like I think that is like if you're grading it A through F, I think that's Duke's F, and they won by 15.
That
You
scares
know,
me. Yeah, that was these like I texted a decent amount of Carolina fans, and we were all in consensus in agreement. Like I felt like they played bad, and they still won by
yeah,
15 against a team that'll probably be in the NCAA tournament. Sick. Can't wait for this.
yeah, and like literally, like seriously, won by 15. Like like I can't stress that enough. They won by 15 against a Texas team. I'm not a big Sean Miller guy, but you can't like take away from anything Sean Miller's done in his career. They
Hmm.
got a bunch of 26-year-olds on the team that everybody likes to talk about. Like, so you know what I mean? And Duke pulled up with their 18-year-old freshman and said, "Hey, we're gonna beat you by 15." Because when my 18-year-old's 26, he's gonna be like an MVP candidate, and your 26-year-old's eating out the dining hall. So it's a little different. There's levels to this. And I just
Insane
think
visual of Tremont Mark having to still pull up with the meal plan. 6 years of college.
it's just one of those things where like the talent on this team is so high, man. It's just so high.
Hmm.
That they can play bad, win by 15. I don't think you got an amazing performance out of them against Western Carolina. Won by what was it, 39, 41, something like that.
41. Okay, they 1.3 points per possession, 47% from the field, only 31% from three. So yeah, they probably left some points on the table. As crazy as that is to say. I mean,
Yeah.
Isaiah Evans going 0 for 5. That's my please. I'm just gonna say it. I got like I always think about the people saying, "Why is this Carolina guy in the comments?" Because you're on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. That's why a Carolina guy's on the Duke video. Sorry about it. In my world, yeah, I hope that Isaiah Evans going 1 for 8 is a sign of things to come. That he will have a little bit of volatility, but something tells me he's going to show up in all the big games. Like
Oh yeah, he'll
that's
have it.
it. It is what that's how that kid is wired. He's gonna shine when the lights are the brightest. I think these 1 for 8, 0 for 5 nights will be few and far between. Maybe it happens once or twice in conference play or something, but it probably happens against like Boston College or Cal. And once again, Duke still wins by 25 plus. So
For what it's worth, I 100% believe he's going to have volatility. When I think of Isaiah Evans, whether it's in college or in the league, and by the way, I know a lot of people are looking at Isaiah Evans like he's leaving after this year. I view Slim. That's a 3, 4 year guy. I think at least three, and then it's really just dependent on who else is in that draft class.
mhm.
But I think the best version of Slim is off the bench, electric, like high motor, jack up 20 shots. It's kind of like your game a little Jamal Crawford-esque.
Mhm.
And with Jamal Crawford-esque also comes volatility. He
Yeah.
might have 50 points, he might have two. And I think you live with that. Shire's aware of it. Shire can live with it. And the reason he can live with it is Cam Boosters on this roster.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. They still have enough weapons. Like they have someone who still should be one of the 3 to 5 best players in the country. Even yeah, you can say what you will about taking 2 games. He's here. And just the wing core is so deep. So another good win for Duke. We'll see how this starts to carry over when they play high major competition. Obviously, they have a lot of opportunities coming up. We will be locked in for it all.